and welcome to Math World. Today let's talk about circles. Alright, now everyone knows what a circle is, hopefully at this point. But let's talk about the parts of a circle and the different things that we can calculate in a circle. So here's our circle, and we kind of defined it as, all the points around the circle are equidistant to the center point. And I'm just kind of estimating here, but we'll put the center there. Alright, now the first thing we learned was that a line from the center to the outside is called the radius. Alright, so whenever you have this kind of like half width of the circle, we can call that the radius. And if we have a line that goes across the whole circle, and it does have to go from one side to the other and through the center, it can't be like this or this. It has to go through the center and it has to be a straight line. It can't turn. Well, then we call that the diameter. And I remember it because diameter is a longer word. It's the larger word. It's kind of hard to write sideways. It's a larger word than radius. So diameter is the longer one and radius is the short one. And since radius is halfway across the circle and diameter is the whole way across the circle, we can say that the diameter is equal to twice the radius. Radius times 2. So if the radius was, 4, then the diameter must be 8 because it's all the way across. There's actually two radiuses. I think it's radii is plural. A radius of 4 right here, and then another radius of 4 to complete the diameter. Alright, what other parts do we have of this circle? Well, there's how far around the circle. I'm going to use a different color here. How far around the circle can we go? What is this distance going all the way around? And not only we can measure that distance around a circle, but it has a name. And the name for this is circumference. The circumference goes all the way around the circle. Alright, now it's not as easy to figure out the circumference using the radius or diameter because it goes all the way around. Circular is not a straight line, but there is an equation to figure it out. How can we figure out what the circumference of this circle is? And we'll use the same numbers we have here, 4 and 8. Well, the equation, and a huge part of this unit is just going to be equations that I give you, and you simply plug in the numbers for the equation. So the equation is circumference equals 2 times the radius times pi. And you may have seen pi before. It's this weird little symbol here. Pi is very related to circles. Circles use pi all the time. So we're actually going to take the radius, multiply it by 2, and then multiply it by pi. And we use the value of pi. We use a rounded version. Pi is always going to be 3.14. So whenever you see pi, plug it in for 3.14. Always. That's always the value of pi. Alright, so let's see if we can figure out what the circumference is. The circumference will be 2 times, well, what's r here? What is our radius? Our radius is 4, so it's going to be 2 times 4. And then multiply by pi, which we said was always 3.14. Come on, give me that decimal. 3.14. And that's it. Now let's do the math. 2 times 4 is 8. And 8 times 3.14. We need a calculator for that. We could do it we could write it out, but let's go ahead and use the calculator. 3.14. And the answer is 25.12. So that is the answer. Our circumference equals 25.12. That's the distance all the way around. I guess maybe we're using centimeters or some kind of measurement here. So we would say the radius is 4 centimeters, the diameter is 8 centimeters, And the circumference is 25.12 centimeters all the way around. I guess what if I gave you the diameter? What if you didn't know what the radius was and I only told you what the diameter was? Like maybe the diameter in a different problem was 10. Could you figure out the circumference using 2 times radius times pi? Well, the answer is yeah, because we know if we know the diameter, we know what the radius is. The radius is always half of the diameter. But actually, look at this little trick. Since we're going to be multiplying 2 by the radius, we are actually multiplying pi by diameter. 2 times radius is the same as diameter. So we kind of could say diameter times pi is equal to the circumference. In this case, the circumference would be 10 times, what's the value of pi? 3.14. So I'm able to just use diameter times pi also. So it depends on which of these values we have. We don't always have both the diameter and the radius. We have to make sure we're not mixing them up. Remember, radius is the smaller one, diameter is the larger one. And so the circumference would be multiplied by 3 is 31.4 would be the answer to this little problem. Alright, so there we have radius, diameter, and circumference. The last thing we want to know is area. Area is the space inside of the circle. How much space fills up this entire circle? And I kind of went out the line there, but all inside the circle. Do we think this is going to be a small number or a large number? Hopefully you said large, because there's a lot of space inside of this circle. I can't even fill it up because it's just going to take too long. So let's go ahead and figure out how much space is inside this circle. Again, we're going to use an equation that I'm going to give to you. The equation for the area. Area is equal to r, so we're using the radius again, but this time instead of multiplying by 2, we're going to square it. We're going to square the r and then multiply it by pi. So we still multiply by pi, but first we need to square the r. And what does that mean exactly, square it? Square it means to multiply by itself. So if we use our numbers from the top here, radius is 4, we're actually going to do 4 squared times 3.14. And I need to do the square first because PEMDAS says always do exponents first. So what is 4 squared? Not 4 times 2, 4 times 4. 4 squared is 16. And then I get to multiply by pi, which again we can go to our trusty calculator. And 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. 50.24. And so you see it was 50.24. You see the area 50 was larger than our circumference. The area is going to get a lot bigger depending on how big the circle is. A large circle will have a large area. So that's it. Radius, diameter, circumference, and area. These equations I will provide to you. You will have them. R squared times pi and 2 times r times pi, but you need to know what information to plug into them. The big difference between circumference and area is that in circumference we're multiplying radius by 2, and area we're multiplying radius by itself. We're squaring it. So hopefully we don't get tripped up there. And that's it. That's circles. So that's it, and I'll see you in class. Now for a word from our sponsor, Papercut Games. This week's game is 20 questions. Now this game, I do have the board game version called 20 Questions for Kids board game, but it can be played without a board game. It's a really fun game. It's fun to play with friends when you're bored, waiting around, maybe on the bus or in a car ride. Basically, all you have to do for this game is one person thinks of something in their head. They think of something that the other people have to try to guess, and the other people get 20 questions to guess what it is. They have to ask yes or no questions about what it is. You can't say what is it or what color it is. They have to say, is it blue or is it red? And it's really fun, and it's fun to kind of figure out what the person's thinking of. I pulled up a website. You can also go onto the website and play it against the computer. And the computer, you know how smart it is, thinks it can guess what you're thinking. So let's go ahead and try it and see if it works. What should we come up with? How about, since we're on a computer, let's use computer as our thing. Alright, it says, is it classified as an animal, vegetable, or mineral? I don't know. It's not an animal, vegetable, or mineral, so I'm just going to say unknown. I don't know. Is it clever? Is a computer clever? So it gives you these options of things I can click on. I don't think it's clever. I don't think that's how you describe a computer. Is it outside? Nah, computers aren't usually outside. Is it flexible? Nah, I wouldn't say a computer's flexible. Is it made of plastic? Yes, my computer is made of plastic. Does it break if dropped? Oh man, this computer's already getting closer. So as they get these yes questions, you see they start to get closer. It probably will break if I drop it, so I'm going to say yes. Does it have an exoskeleton? I don't think so. I guess you can kind of classify it as exoskeleton. I'm going to say no. Is the computer annoying? Can be, but I'm going to say no. Is it white? Well, mine isn't. Mine's black, so I'm going to say sometimes. You can't have white computers. Does it have a memory? Computers do have memory, so I'm going to click yes. Does it contain a liquid? I don't think there's any liquid in the computer. Is it something you bring along? Yeah, you bring your computer along places. Definitely my laptop. Is it something you can hear? I can hear my laptop when it's playing music. Does it make music? Plays music. I don't know if it makes music. I'm going to say no. Does it have a cable? Yeah, there's cables kind of coming out of my computer. I'm going to say yes. Does it bring joy to people? I would say computers bring joy to people. Would you pay to use it? Yeah, you pay to use computers. Is it used for communications? Yeah, I use it for communications. I am guessing that is a video camera. Oh, so look, once they got close enough, they tried to make a guess. They are wrong. 19th question, is it used in travel? You don't really use a computer in travel. Use it for, I'm going to say no. I'm guessing that is a telephone. So they got it wrong again. Oh, look, now they're trying to go to 21 questions. That's not how it works. Once someone gets to 21 questions, they lose the game, and you get to tell them what it was. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult when some of the questions are hard to answer. But it's a fun game. Try it out with your friends. Keep it simple at first. Don't do anything obscure that nobody will ever figure out. And it can't be a proper noun like a specific person like Taylor Swift. You can say singer or car or book. Things like that. Well, give it a try. And I'm Mr. Bixby, and I approve this message.